Welcome to this video on using Excel to solve a linear programming problem. And so in this video what we'd like to do is maximize this profit function 10x plus 5y subject to the constraints right here on the bottom. And so what I'd like to show you is how we use Excel to do such a thing. So the first thing I'd like you to do is maybe type up things that look as follows. And let me actually get rid of this because we don't need this right now. But actually, let me clear that up. Okay. And so what I need you to do is pause the video and type up your Excel worksheet such as follows. And to do this is actually not too difficult. All you have to do is let me start off with this so you can see. All that it takes is you just start typing. So here on this corner I want you to type in solution. And here in this corner I want you to type in x equals and so on and so forth. Okay? So go ahead and pause it. All right, welcome back. So now you should have something like this. And so the idea behind this is that the solution is gonna appear up here in this portion of in this cell, E1, and the cell C1. And also in the cell where it says maximize, we'll also get a solution there. And so there's formulas here that's the next thing I'd like you to be able to learn how to type. So I'm gonna delete these for now so that I can show you step by step how to come up with them. And there is a reason for doing it like this with formulas, and I want to show you where it comes from. So first of all, how does this work? Well, here where it says constraint 1, that's the 4x plus y is less than or equal to 28. So we just need the coefficients. We just need the 4 because the 4 is going to multiply the x value. We just need the coefficient here, which is 1, because the 1 is going to multiply the y value. And the limit means that that's the 28. We can't go over 28. On the next constraint is the 2x plus 3y equals 24. Again, we just need the coefficients. The 2 because the 2 multiplies the x, the 3 because the 3 multiplies the y, and the 24 because that is our constraint. And finally, the profit. How do we find the profit? Well, we're going to have 10 times x. We're going to type in 10 here in the x column. And a 5, that's the other coefficient, times y. And so that sets up our problem. And now we can go ahead and do these formulas. Now it turns out that if you do them once, you can kind of solve all problems that look like this, and that's kind of the cool thing about Excel. So constraint. So constraint 1, I'm going to label C1. Constraint 1, well, notice that it's 4x plus y, so I want to take the 4. So notice I clicked on B4. Oh, sorry, actually before I do that, I press equals, because I want a formula. I press on B4, and then I do times, and then right here, whatever's in C1. And so what this will do is it'll take whatever you have here on B4 and multiply it times whatever you have here on C1. Then I'm going to do a plus. And I'm going to take this 1, this coefficient 1, and put a times, because I want to multiply times whatever's here on E1. And once I do that, I get a nice formula. Now, if you watch really nicely, if I make x1 and y0, 4 times 1 is 0. Whereas if I make x1 and y2, well, that's 4 times 1 plus 1 times 2, that'll give you 6. And so it actually does what it wants you to do. It is a nice formula. So we want to do the same thing for the second constraint. Okay, so in the second constraint, so I'm going to label this C2. I want to say, okay, this is going to be equal to the coefficient 2 times whatever the x value is going to be, plus the coefficient 3 times whatever the y value is going to be. And so right now it's 0, but again, if I made this 1 and I made this 2, notice that 2 times 1 is 2 and 3 times 2 is 6, and so 2 plus 6 is 8. So it really does calculate it for you. So this is the power of Excel, that it does calculations for you. And I'll show you something else that's a little bit more powerful. All right, now these cells right here, all I did was type in less than and equal, because that's what we want. And same thing here, less than and equal, because that's what we wanted. So there's nothing there. And then here what I want to put is the constraint. So this cell, D10, should be equal to whatever's here on D4. So I'm going to click on D4 and press enter. And this cell, D11, should be equal to whatever is in D5, which in this case is 24. So notice it says D5. All right. And now what do I want to maximize? Well, you know you want to maximize the profit function, so somehow we have to type in the formula for the profit function. And as you know, it's 10x plus 5y. So that means I need to get to 10, which is in B6, multiply it times the value of x, which will be in C1, add it to 5, which is in C7, times the value of y, which will be in E1. And so this is what we're trying to maximize. And now we're actually ready to go about and use the tools of Excel to do this. So if you go to Tools, this is on your menu. If you go to Tools, down here there should be something called Solver. Now, if you don't have this yet, then we're going to have to work on it in class to find out how to get the solver. But for right now, the solver, you would click on Solver. This is under the Tools menu. Here in this is usually empty. Here what we do is we click on the cell that we want to maximize. So in this case it's B13, so I just click on B13. Now my specific Excel, since it's in a Macintosh, it tells me what sheet is it. Notice that down here I have all these sheets. It says look at sheet 1 and look at the cell B13. We can find max, we can find min. I'm not sure what value of does. We're going to use min later, but right now we want max. And it says what variables are you going to change? Well, I'm going to click on C1. Then I'm going to click on E1. Oops, actually, sorry, C1. Then I hit the, again, in my Mac, I hit the command button. In the PC, I hit the control button, and I click this one because I want both of these cells. So it's going to take C1, which is this one. It's going to take E1. What that means is those variables are going to change, and we're going to be able to, and it's going to figure out what the maximum is going to be. Now, subject to what constraints? So I'm going to add a constraint. Here, what I want is, see how it says less than or equal to? I want this value, B10, to be less than or equal to the value 28, which is in D10. Okay? So I'm going to add that one. I also want the value here on B11 to be less than or equal to the value on D24, on D12, which is right here, which is 24. And I'm going to press OK. And notice now it has my constraints. So it has, I want to maximize this cell right here. I want to change these cells right here. And then these are the constraints I'm using. I want to make unconstrained variables non-negative. And then I want to make sure that I use the simplex method. And then once I do all this, then I just press solve. And it works. And there it is. It tells you that x is 6, y is 4, and the maximize is 80. I believe this is one of the problems we've done in class, and so if you can confirm that this is the correct answer. Now, so that one's done. So why do I go through the trouble of making all these formulas? Well, the thing is that if I give you now this problem, all you have to do to change things, and this will be kind of quick, and you can review it and pause the video if you need to, but you see I can delete this and delete this. And now I just have to change my constraints, 5, 1, and 9. The coefficient for the second one is 1, 1, and 5. The profit function is 2 and 1. But everything else is set up. And there's nothing else for me to do except to go to Tools again, go to Maximize, go to Tools, go to Solver, and everything's already filled out. I already know what cell I want to maximize, the same one. I already know I want to max. I already know what variables I'm going to change. It's these two. The constraints are already there, so I don't have to add those again. And if I just do the simplex method and click solve, it solves the next problem. And we did this in class also, so you know this answer is the right one. And so you see the power of Excel is once you have everything programmed in there, now you can go ahead and just solve all the other problems that are of the same type. And so I hope this helps. There'll be another video on the PC version of this, but hopefully this will get you started if you have a Mac.